8 silent ways you're catching H. pylori. Number 1 will shock you, right now. Inside the stomachs of over 4 billion people on this planet, a corkscrew-shaped bacteria is quietly drilling through their stomach lining. And here's the unsettling part. Most infected people never show a single symptom until decades later, when damage is already done. It's the number 1 cause of stomach ulcers, and it's officially classified as a carcinogen, a cancer-causing agent. The scary part? You could be getting infected right now, from your morning coffee cup, your kid's kiss goodnight, or even the water in your glass. So today, we're counting down the 8 most common ways people catch H. pylori, starting with the ones you'd never suspect, and ending with the number 1 cause doctors say is responsible for the majority of infections worldwide. Stick around till the end, because number 1 is something almost everyone does every single day. Before we count down, here's what makes this bacteria so dangerous. H. pylori, short for Helicobacter pylori, has a corkscrew shape that literally lets it drill into your stomach's protective mucus lining. Once it's in, it can live there for decades, quietly causing inflammation, ulcers, and in some cases, stomach cancer. The World Health Organization estimates it infects roughly 2/3 of the world's population at some point in their lives. So how does it actually get inside you? Let's count down the causes, starting at number 8. Number 8. Improperly sterilized medical equipment. This is one of the lesser-known causes. H. pylori has occasionally been transmitted through endoscopes and other medical instruments that weren't fully disinfected between patients. Because the bacteria can survive on surfaces for a short period, hospitals and clinics follow strict sterilization protocols specifically to prevent this kind of transmission. It's rare in developed healthcare systems today, but historically, it's been a documented pathway, which is part of why sterilization standards became so much stricter over the past few decades. Number 7. Contaminated water. In areas without proper water treatment, H. pylori can survive in water supplies contaminated with fecal matter. Studies have found the bacteria's DNA in well water, river water, and even some municipal supplies in developing regions. This is a huge reason why infection rates are dramatically higher in countries with limited access to clean water and sanitation, sometimes affecting over 80% of the population, compared to under 40% in developed nations. If you're traveling somewhere with questionable water quality, this is your sign to stick to bottled water. Number 6. Contaminated food. Fruits and vegetables washed in contaminated water, or fertilized using untreated sewage, can carry H. pylori directly to your plate. Undercooked food and food prepared in unsanitary conditions are also common culprits. This is why food safety experts always say, wash your produce thoroughly, even when it looks perfectly clean. The bacteria doesn't leave visible traces. Number 5. Poor sanitation infrastructure. This one's less about personal habits and more about environment. In areas lacking proper sewage systems, H. pylori spreads through what scientists call the fecal-oral route, meaning trace amounts of fecal matter, often invisible, make contact with food, water, or hands, and eventually reach the mouth. It sounds unsettling, because it is. But it explains why infection rates cluster so heavily in specific regions and communities, regardless of individual cleanliness. Number 4. Overcrowded households. Here's a fact that surprises most people. Living in a crowded home is one of the single biggest risk factors for H. pylori, even bigger than income level alone. Research shows that children who share a bedroom with multiple siblings, or households with more than one family per room, have significantly higher infection rates. More people in close quarters means more opportunities for the bacteria to pass from person to person. Number 4. Direct contact through saliva. H. pylori has been found in the saliva of infected individuals, which means kissing, sharing utensils, sharing drinks, or even a parent pre-chewing food for a baby, a practice still common in some cultures, can transmit the bacteria. This is called oral-oral transmission, and it's one of the most well-documented pathways researchers have confirmed. Number 2. Family transmission. This is huge, and it's why H. pylori tends to run in families. If one parent is infected, Especially the mother, children are significantly more likely to become infected too, often before age 5. Scientists believe this happens through repeated close contact, sharing meals, sharing dishes, or living in the same household for years. In fact, some studies show that if your mother had H. pylori, your risk of infection more than doubles. It's not genetic, it's environmental, but it feels hereditary because the exposure happens so early and so consistently. And the number one cause of H. pylori infection worldwide? Number 1. Childhood exposure. Childhood exposure. Most infections happen before the age of 10. Here's why this tops the list. Nearly every cause we just covered, contaminated water, family transmission, overcrowded homes, poor sanitation, hits hardest during early childhood, when the immune system is still developing and hygiene habits aren't fully formed. Once H. pylori settles into a child's stomach, it often stays there for life, unless it's specifically treated with antibiotics. That's the terrifying part. Most adults walking around with this bacteria picked it up as a toddler, decades before any symptoms ever showed up. So the real question isn't just how do people get H. pylori, it's how early does it start? And the answer, for most of the world, is before you can even remember. Before we wrap up, let's clear up 2 myths. First, spicy food does not cause H. pylori. It can irritate an already infected stomach, but it doesn't create the infection. Second, it's important to recognize that even when stress amplifies feelings, the root of the problem lies in the underlying bacteria that may be flourishing within. However, stress is a crucial factor. Ultimately, addressing both the bacterial infection and any stressors is essential for achieving overall health. By targeting the roots of the issue, individuals can find relief and embark on a path toward wellness that recognizes both the physical and emotional components of their condition. The cause is always the bacteria itself, transmitted through the pathways we just covered. So now you know the 8 ways H. pylori spreads, from contaminated water all the way to early childhood exposure. The good news? It's detectable with a simple breath, blood, or stool test, and treatable with antibiotics if caught early. The key is awareness, because most people carry this bacteria for years without a single symptom. If this video opened your eyes, hit subscribe, because next week, we're counting down the 8 warning signs your stomach is sending you right now that most people completely ignore. And share this video to anyone you know. You might be helping someone in a great way than you think. Stay curious, stay healthy, and I'll see you in the next one.